What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by the one, the only Dilly Vanilli, and we are here for the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Green Bay Packers recap here in week number 12, 31-28. Not quite the score that we expected from this game, but we got quite the game. You know, I didn't even want to recap this game, but we got a good game. So it was fun. In Pittsburgh, Green Bay put on a show. I wouldn't say dominated much of the game, but they were definitely in the game, and they were definitely forcing the best play out of the Steelers possible. And we learned a lot about both teams. I think there's a lot that we can learn from both of these performances tonight. You know, Big Ben, Bell, and Brown did their thing. And then on the other side of things, the Packers still have hope. So we're going to talk about all that stuff and more. We are expecting 2 run-ins from Kev and AC. AC expected at about 12:30 Eastern time, and Kev whenever the hell he wants because he's Kev. So let's get into and he just had a tough loss, guys. The Calgary Stampeders lost the Grey Cup.
Oh.
So, you know, be sure to make fun of him a lot. All right, let's get into this recap of the Packers and the Steelers. What was your thoughts of the game, Dilly? We'll just start off with that.
I did fall asleep in this game, so unfortunately enough, this one entertaining game made me fall asleep. However, I was already tired, and I was in the second quarter. I thought this was pretty interesting. Of course, you look at the stats from Brett Hundley, 17 of 26, 245 yards, and 3 touchdowns. If a man had told me that earlier today, I would have slapped him in the face because I would not have agreed with those stats for Brett Hundley. But he got it done. He played well. Devontae Adams was his go-to receiver, no question about it. And this team looked decently enough. Coming into this game, we're like, well, Pittsburgh has the 14-point line. Are they going to cover? Are they going to be dominant as ever? And Green Bay gave them a fight, and that's good, considering we haven't had a lot of good Sunday Night Football games. The Steelers played an interesting game. Some key mistakes that gave the Packers some opportunities, but the Packers capitalized. The Packers didn't make a whole lot of mistakes, so that was good for them to get them this close. And Antonio Brown is great. So pretty interesting game here between two teams. Now we kind of see going forward how these two teams are going to fare in terms of the playoff race. Should be interesting.
I do want to ask you a question. Was this more that the Steelers, they showed their flaws in this game, or was this that the Packers actually played well?
That's a good question. I think it's a combination of both. I mean, Brett Hundley put up his best numbers, so I think you could say that could be on the defense of the Steelers, but I think they went out there, realized, you know, if they win this game, they still have a decent shot to be in the playoffs. I mean, they would be 6-5 if they had won this game. So I think they were trying to go out there and play, and we saw that earlier today. Aaron Rodgers was thrown on the field. So,
and if they win out, they still have a chance because they would be 10-6. It's unlikely, but they do play the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Cleveland Browns the next 2 weeks. And then if they win those games and they get Aaron Rodgers back, you never know.
You never know. You never know. But it could have been a lot. It could have helped them a lot more if they had gotten this victory. But they were trying. The Steelers did show some flaws, but I think they went out there at the end, like the very end, and realized they got to pull their heads out of their asses because this is supposed to be a team that can beat the Patriots. So you know, take that with a grain of salt.
All right. And for me, my thoughts on this game, I would probably lean towards the Steelers showing more of their flaws than the Packers playing well. I did think that the coaching was definitely a huge thing in this game. I think that Mike McCarthy, I'm not the biggest fan of Mike McCarthy, as you guys know, but I think he totally outcoached Mike Tomlin in this game completely 100%. And it started from the beginning of the game. It started, well, of course, it starts through preparation, but through the beginning of this game, when Mike Tomlin said that he has a team that can win the Super Bowl, that's right there and there. Why are you thinking ahead? You have a game. You're on Sunday Night Football. You're playing a team. You're just disrespecting your opponent.
Wait, did he say that during like halftime? Or when did he say that?
He said that at some point. I don't know. But I saw the tweet. He said that at some point. Okay. So I just thought that the situations that Mike McCarthy put Brett Hundley and this offense in was very smart. He drew up a lot of newer plays that we haven't really seen of them. They had a lot of kind of gadget plays to make it easy on Brett Hundley, a lot of swing passes, screens, short routes, getting, even 5 wide to a certain degree and getting those matchups down. McCarthy is a pretty good offensive coach. The criticism comes from when he doesn't become creative in his offensive game plan and just relies too much on his quarterback and Aaron Rodgers. But I feel like he is almost better when he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers, because he just becomes more like when he doesn't have a good player at the position, like we've seen this in the past, he becomes a better coach when players are on his team are hurt. Like when his running back is hurt, he puts like a receiver there and does like a bunch of different things with them. And then if like a receiver's hurt, he moves all his receivers and tight ends around and works the system better. So I don't know what it is. Like maybe if he combined the good players with the good strategy, maybe you'd have a great team, but I'm not exactly sure. But I do have to give Mike McCarthy a lot of credit for his game plan in this game. Offensively, defensively needed some work, obviously, but I think a lot of that has to do with some of the talent. And for Mike Tomlin, I don't know how you're at home and you're tied at halftime and then you're losing going into the fourth quarter. Like, I don't know how this works with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. I don't know if it's motivation. He can't get his team up for bad teams. Because at home, you're supposed to crush these teams. I don't understand. Like maybe occasionally on the road, it's a close game. But when you're constantly having 3 to 4 games a year against bad opponents with backup quarterbacks that are decided within 3 points, or you're losing the game, that is not a good sign. And that often lies on the coach more than anything. So I have to put most of the blame, even though they did win this game, on Mike Tomlin for this poor performance from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, you look at Mike Tomlin, he's been called the cheerleader of the sidelines for a reason by Terry Bradshaw. All he just goes down there, he sees the talent that's on the team, the killer bees, if you will. And I don't know, he just doesn't give me anything that's like, he has too much bravado for me. It's like you're looking too forward to something that isn't there. Like, yeah, the Patriots game is big. Don't worry about that until you actually get to that week. Like, and then it's asinine to be like, well, we're in this Packers game, but that Patriots game in 2 weeks. Oh, well, we got a chance to.
Yeah. What do you think of TMB's comment?
What do you
that they like the problem is not that they play down to teams, but they get hyped for big games that are like in the future, like haven't happened yet, and they're looking ahead to those games.
I agree with that, but they shouldn't be doing that.
Obviously.
I mean, it's like, why look so far ahead? You got the game. The NFL is 16 games, a season. Everybody plays 16 games. You look at it as like, yeah, that game's on my peripheral vision, but you're being paid to play right now. Like, if you can't beat the Packers, what makes you think in 2 weeks you're going to beat the Patriots? You know what I mean? So I think it's dumb that Mike Tomlin's had that system, because look, he almost lost to the Colts a couple weeks ago.
We're not saying that they do have that system. We're just throwing that out there.
Well, and look, they've lost to the Bears. They almost lost to the Colts earlier, a couple weeks ago, and that was a very close game. Didn't know about that. So it's fascinatingly weird.
And yeah, the Steelers won this game, but they were sloppy. They had 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions by Ben. They had 462 yards in this game, 28 first downs, and had the ball for 33 minutes. But, 3 turnovers. And their defense couldn't seem to get off the field when it really needed to. Looking at some of their playmakers, Ben Roethlisberger, 33 for 45, 351, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 106.8 rating. This was one of his better games of the season. He did have those 2 interceptions, though. A lot of this I don't really know where to place because specifically towards the end of the game, I do not understand what the Packers were doing defensively. The last drive, they have 1 player lining up on Antonio Brown. The guy has thrown to Antonio Brown probably 30 times in this game, and you're just going to let him throw the ball one-on-one against a corner that's no good. I mean, what are the Packers thinking defensively? I think the entire staff needs to be freaking fired. I don't understand that. Anytime the Packers are on defense at the end of the game, they lose the game.
Well, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger threw 33 completions. 10 of those were to Antonio Brown,
and 12 of those were to Le'Veon Bell. 22 of 33. This is my point with the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? Let's not act like maybe they're playing better now, and that's a thing now that they're playing better, but this is their second game of putting 30-plus points up. and they did it last week. So maybe they're on a roll here where they're starting to put points up. Both were at home. So, the Steelers usually typically in years past play really well at home on offense. But with the Steelers, it's always been against good teams and good coaches that whenever the team has been able to take away their two players, Big Ben gets stifled and he doesn't know what to do. Because, you're never going to shut down Bell and Brown, but if you can slow them down, every single time it seems like Ben doesn't trust his other players. We saw this last year. We've seen this at points this season, specifically the big one against the Jaguars. We definitely saw it in that game. With the Steelers, I just feel it's more of the same. They're going to beat up on these bad teams with their offense because they can't stop Brown and Bell. But then when they play good teams, and it doesn't even have to be a great defense, but whenever they play good teams, it seems like when those players aren't putting 10 catches, 12 catches, 200 yards up, they're not able to score big-time points. Do you get the same thing, Dylan, or is that just me?
No, I see where you're – sorry, I had to drink and whatnot. But I see where you're coming from. I mean, you look at some of the teams that they've beaten this season, and it's like some of these games are a lot closer than you really think they are. That Lions game, the Lions know how to score a touchdown. They could win that game. They lost pretty badly to the Jaguars. It just kind of seems like they're in this mentality where they don't go – they're not progressive. They're always like – it's the Packers.
Yeah, well, I've noticed that. They're one step up, one step back.
Yeah, it's just it always kind of one game they're really good, where the Steelers are really into it. The next game it's we see the flaws that can be there. They're never really consistent. The Patriots game, I'm sorry, was 3 weeks. It's in December 17th, so they still got to play 2 more games before that.
Who do they play? The Bengals and someone else, right?
The Bengals and the Ravens. They
play. Okay, so those will be tests. I mean, those are divisional games.
Yeah.
Both teams are fighting for the playoffs still. So those will be good games. Those will be kind of a measuring stick for Steelers fans to see, okay, when we usually beat the Ravens and the Bengals, no matter how bad they are, we usually do well. That's kind of like the same thing for the Broncos with the Patriots for me. It's just one of those matchups where it's usually typically close. So that will be interesting for the Steelers, specifically with their offense, because the Bengals and Ravens do both have good defenses.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see where the Steelers offense is at. Obviously, they didn't have Juju Smith-Schuster, so that is a pretty big thing. But at least they got something out of Martavis Bryant. I mean, 4 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. That's when you're targeting Bell and Brown 26 times, 26 times, and the defense has no answer.
26 times.
That just means your defense is terrible.
26 times to 2 people. That's
26 times.
That's insane. Holy shit. One of them was a running back. One of them was a fucking running back.
Yeah, I know. So speaking of that running back, Bell had 20 carries, 95 yards, 4.8 yards per carry. Only had a long of 14, but did have some nice runs here and there. I thought the Packers did a decent job against the run overall. It was just Antonio Brown and the little dump-offs to Le'Veon Bell that were getting them all game. They couldn't cover Antonio Brown, and that's the reason why they lost. I mean, 10 catches, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns on 12 targets. He had a long of 39.
I mean, you look at the stat line. If they, let's say, you take out the targets from Brown and Bell, the most anybody has next to it is 7 by Eli Rogers, and he only had 3 catches. So it's what I think the game plan should be. I mean, again, I'm not a coach, so I can't be like, oh yeah, I know the NFL experts. But wouldn't you want to try to take out the number 1 target?
I know.
That number 2 or number 3,
this is the thing, Dylan, is they beat up on bad teams because they're incapable of doing that. They can't do it.
It's like if
they don't have the players to physically do that.
I know, but how I'm going to double team this man.
No, but you know what I was saying? I was literally at the point of triple cover Antonio Brown. Every time Big Ben looks to him first, and then every time he can't look to him, he gets uncomfortable.
Because if I'm a defense and I'm like, okay, I see Eli Rogers going for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns, I'm going to live at that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But if Antonio Brown has 169 yards like he has tonight on 10 catches, I'm pissed as a Green Bay Packers coach. And Le'Veon Bell, a little more unacceptable. I mean, you got to have some kind of coverage.
I mean, I think teams, honestly, could live with Bell getting 88 yards receiving. I honestly feel like 12 catches for 88 yards. That's about like.
Yeah, but that's only if I would only accept that if the other receiver ain't getting 10 catches.
Brown has under 100 yards, and let's say Bell has 12 catches, 88 yards. I feel like you can live with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's the thing where like you're not taking either of them away.
Mm-hmm.
You're just letting Ben do what he wants to do, basically.
I know in the times that they actually had good defensive plays, what happens? Oh, well, they caused an interception. They got some kind of key play that the Packers were able to capitalize on the offensive side. So it's like,
this is not saying that the Steelers aren't a good team. They're obviously a good team. They're 9-2, and it's just that I just don't understand the game plans from certain teams against the Steelers, because whenever you see the Steelers struggle, it's exactly what we're explaining right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jordan gets it. He's in our chat. He's a Steelers fan.
Of course, Ben is going to look great when he can just throw to his favorite receiver 100 times a game.
Well, there's a reason.
And Brown is great.
There's a reason why Antonio Brown has 136 receptions the last 2 seasons. Like, the guy's going to get a bunch of targets because Big Ben's like, well, he's my big receiver. Let's go.
And especially when it's clutch time and they're passing it to him.
That one catch was an insane catch by Antonio Brown.
Okay, no, I mean that one was fine because that was just a ridiculous catch. But like the other one where it was like an out route 1-on-1, like what the fuck are you doing?
This doesn't make any sense. And by the way, somebody put in the chat, the dumbest argument you'll ever make, how many Super Bowls? Buddy, we're talking about right now. We're not talking about the past. We're talking about what's currently going in the game. Because I don't think Antonio Brown played in Super Bowl 6.
But, okay, Bodo says, I knew Mitch would say that the Steelers, because if Brady made that drive, he would have said, look, Brady and the offense are the best. Brady and the offense don't win by 3 points against the Green Bay Packers at home.
Against the backup quarterback, I'd like to point out. Not
against the backup quarterback. And Brady and the offense don't throw to 2 players all game. And when they can't do that, they suck. Okay?
Let me look
That's
at
my argument. Okay, like a good offense in the league, right? If their 2 top options are taken away, they don't instantly suck because their 2 top options are gone. You know what I mean?
The Patriots' number 1 target today was Gronk, who had 8 targets.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, but I want to just say this because it's an example, not the Patriots. Robert Woods did not play for the Rams. He's leading the way. This offense is a good offense. They find different ways to score points against the Saints today.
I mean, they found other receiver options. Cooper Kupp got a lot more receptions, which was good for him. They were able to get it down with Reynolds. They use certain weapons that are like, they still use Gurley because that's obviously their number 1 running back option. But they were able to see, Robert. I mean, we were coming into this game thinking, is Robert Woods going to really hurt this team considering they lost last week? They were able to go down the field, make impressive drives, and were able to hold on to win that game in pretty good fashion. I mean, we're going to sit here and say the Rams are, probably number 3 in the NFC West, maybe. Or not, excuse me, in the NFC. So, I'm not saying the Steelers aren't a good team, Bodo. It's just like, it doesn't look impressive. It's just the same
thing. I see this every year from the Steelers. It's the same thing.
And then somebody wants to put out there that the Steelers are going to beat the Patriots in the big game.
But
and what happens?
I'll take this swear off right now. It's not because I'm a Patriots fan. It's just literally the same team. It's the same team. The secondary got shredded by a backup quarterback. They have 2 offensive weapons. Big Ben is not as good as he used to be. And they're barely beating teams that they should beat by 30 points. It's the same Steelers team. I don't see any progression from this team. I don't see any improvement. And even if the Patriots weren't the Patriots, I don't think that they would beat the Eagles or the Vikings. I don't.
No, I know. I agree. I mean, it's just I'm reading some of these comments. They're great. You want to get into stats? Because
I got to some of them.
I got to some of it. We got to hold on the wire until AC gets here because that'll be it.
Brett Hundley, 17 for 26, 245, 3 touchdowns, 134.3 passer rating. Is that safe to say that was Brett Hundley's best game he's ever had?
No question. Well, and certainly in the NFL, no question. I mean, you could debate whether or not that was on some of that was on the Steelers and how bad their defense was playing, but you got to give Brett Hundley the credit. He was out there.
Yeah.
He wasn't making
I mean, he played pretty well.
He wasn't making a whole lot of mistakes.
I would actually like to, I said with Mike McCarthy, I think a lot of it came from the strategy from their offense. And I think what also helped was even though they didn't run the ball really well, like they only averaged 3.3 yards per carry, they did run it 21 times, and they kind of kept the Steelers off balance. And I would like to say that, Williams, 21 carries, 66 yards, with really no one else to give the ball to, I thought played a pretty good game here.
I mean, you see like the fourth option for the running back crew. So
yeah, he's like their third or fourth running back.
So you kind of have to you get 66 yards for a guy that's not even in your, who's probably coming off either the tail end in that setup, or you're getting a practice squad guy. So I don't know if he was, but 66 yards, that's decent enough. And you're also showing that you're not just going to throw it every play. Because one thing that's going to make you lose real quickly is if a team knows you're going to throw it on every play, like almost every play. So they gave the ball to him, 24 total runs, not bad. Give him that.
Okay, where's Kev? Is he on suicide watch?
They did win today, so I don't even know if that's true. He said he was going to take a minute. Because he's the Grey Cup.
Yeah, he lost in epic fashion in the Grey Cup.
He said something. He said, I just start. Oh, wait, no, that's not that one. Where is it?
Also for the Packers, 5 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown for Davante Adams on 9 targets, becoming the #1 target for the Packers. Out of all his idiotic comments tonight, I thought Chris Collinsworth did say something right, saying that Davante Adams has sort of become the #1 receiver. I think most of that is just the preference for Brett Hundley. I don't think that I don't think Adams is any better than Jordy Nelson. I just feel like usually Nelson gets the better coverage, and then second, I think that Hundley just prefers him maybe. I don't really know why. But, speaking of Nelson, 3 catches, 11 yards. He hasn't done anything in weeks. Jamal Williams, again, he had 69 yards through the air with 4 catches and a touchdown. A lot of that came on 1 screen pass for the touchdown. Randall Cobb, 4 catches, 58 yards and a touchdown. And I would like to say that Adams just seems like a more fluid, kind of confident receiver, more than last year. He was good last year, but I just think even that play, for example, on 4th down where he was just calm, he made that nice route, he beat his guy, he caught it. Yep. A lot of times Adams would drop that, or he would not get open, or something would happen. I think Adams has just overall became a lot better player this year.
Well, I remember the last couple seasons, it's Adams has always been that underrated third receiver, because you see Rodgers always giving the targets to more Cobb and Nelson, and then sometimes on a big 3rd down, he'll get it to Adams, and it's kind of like 50-50 where you're going to get. But in this season, you've seen that he's kind of had to pick up the slack because not because his receivers are bad. They still got the 2 receivers, but that now that the quarterback has to be out there, a different QB, a different system for him, a different way to go. You got to make these plays, and Adams is looking good. So if he's got to be the #1 receiver for him, fuck it. It's good to see them. He's making these clutch plays in these clutch situations.
Okay, those are the stats. Do you want to go to defense, or do you just want to talk about the defense? Hayward had 2 sacks. TJ Watt had a sack. What else? Mike Daniels, I thought, had a good game, had a sack as well, 7 tackles. Blake Martinez had 15 tackles in this game.
Holy shit.
Shazier did get banged up. I'm not sure if he returned to the game. But star for the game on each side, I would say Hayward and Daniels for me. I thought Martinez was also good. The whole secondary was terrible for Green Bay. Pittsburgh secondary was all terrible. And I would say TJ Watt as well would be kind of MVP on defense. What are your thoughts on that?
Hayward, Cameron Hayward, one of the most underrated defensive players. I've always thought the fact he hasn't been to a Pro Bowl is kind of shocking to me. I would say he's probably the defensive player for the Steelers tonight. TJ Watt played a nice game. That 1 sack that he hit on Hundley was particularly weird. He was in coverage and then just decided he was going to go go for Hundley because he was taking too damn long, and then he just like slammed him like helmet to helmet, and Hundley fell. I don't know, that was weird, but it was still good play. I think he played well. Shazier always been underrated. For the Packers, Blake Martinez had 15 tackles. I find that interesting. Yeah, I would say him. Morgan Burnett played a good game as well. But a lot of that secondary for both teams was pretty subpar, like really subpar.
Terrible tackling too.
Yeah, like just sometimes you're like, wow. Well, as a Cowboys fan, I know bad tackling, but it's like, man, you're gonna know. Like, you got to make these tackles. You got to make these things. Some plays that are 2nd and 8, and they get a 4-yard catch, and it would turn into a first down. It's like you had the chance to stop them pretty quickly. You never did. So, but yeah, those are my guys. I would say Hayward probably played the best game for the Steelers, and probably either Martinez. I would say probably the best game for the Packers.
Chris Boswell, I got to give him a shout out for the game kick. He did miss an extra point, but then he made a 53-yard winner. So that was nice for your fantasy team.
Yes, it was. That helps me out there.
31-28 Steelers. Let's get to some comments. We are expecting the one, the only AC very soon. So
yes,
let's get to some comments. There are a lot of bizarre comments, including that the Golden Elite says that that Tom Brady is only good because of Gronk and Brandon Cooks.
Oh God, you know, these Patriots haters become more idiotic by the year. They really do.
Like, I don't understand that when he's been playing since 2001, and he had Troy Brown, David Patton, he had Deion Branch and David Gibbons. He had Randy.
Do not hate on my boy Deion Branch. Okay.
He had Jabbar Gaffney and Riche Caldwell.
Ooh.
He had Kembrell Tompkins and Aaron Dobson.
That was the worst one. That was the worst one.
Yeah, he's had a lot of different wide receiver combinations. So, and he's been good every single time. So I don't think that's a good argument.
Kembrell Tompkins. He did make a game-winning touchdown against the Jets, though. That was the one. That was the one.
The Saints.
Was it the Saints? Okay, yeah.
The Saints.
Oh, well, he did win. He did win one. I remember that. Rob says, Dille. Thank you very much. Who replaces John Fox in Chicago? Says Rob.
Jeez, I don't know.
I don't know who's available. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who the candidates are. I would say, one of the top candidates would be Schwartz for the Eagles.
Okay.
I think he's going to get a job somewhere. I don't quite know where that will be.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, and I think he'll avoid probably the NFC if he can. Like, I think he would be a really good voice with the Raiders, personally, because I think he would be intense, and I think he would kind of, bring these Raiders back to earth a little bit.
This is the guy that did bring us 0-16, so you never. I mean, he's gotten better.
Coach, was he?
He was the coach.
He was the guy after the 0-16.
Oh, was he? Damn, I thought he was the 0-16 coach. I was pretty sure. There, I say on the chat. There he is. Was it? I thought it was. I thought it was Schwartz.
About the great Schwartz, defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, and how he's going to. My suggestion was to the Oakland Raiders.
We'll see. I don't think it's going to be next year, though. In my opinion.
What'd you say?
I don't think it's going to be next year.
Really? Why?
Because I think when you have success like you did, he's only been there 2 years. I think you want to build on that, depending on how this season goes. Maybe if it's a heartbreak, maybe he does leave.
He seems like a guy that wants a head coaching job again, though.
No, for sure. But I do think when you have something good, he's seen it as a head coach when you don't have something good, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So I think, you can keep your coordinators together if they like what they're doing and they have success. Like, we talk about Kyle Shanahan, but Kyle Shanahan was at least in Atlanta for at least 4 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I think 3. I don't think you just jump ship 2 years. Plus, I know he's a good coach and he has past coach experience, but who's going to pay him a bunch of money from 2 years of having a great defense? You know what I mean? Because
plus he had some pretty good success with Detroit. There was just some things that went wrong
and then
there.
Obviously he was a defense coordinator at Buffalo before the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't think he'll leave this year, regardless of what happens. But yeah, he deserves to be a head coach. I just don't think he would want to leave after, let's see, going, who knows what's going to happen.
So you're saying he's going to Josh McDaniels it?
Yeah, and then he'll be crap, and then we'll just bring him back.
Yeah, totally. Don't be the Bobby Petrino, though. That's the unlawful one, if you know what I mean.
AC, what do you think of this game? We've been criticized. I've been criticized already for hating on the Steelers.
Well, it's tough to hate on the Steelers because in one thing, their offense was great. You could look at the turnovers being somewhat fluky. Obviously, the first interception shouldn't have been thrown, but it was a great play by the defender. Second one up in the air, and then a fumble, which Le'Veon Bell doesn't normally do. I look at the defense, and the defense made some big plays against Hundley down the stretch. Yes, they gave up 3 big play touchdowns, but I've seen that with the Eagles. You can have a great pass rush, and then some games, some teams just give up big plays, which I know you can't have that, but I still don't think it's like we should look at the defense and being like they stink because of one game they give up 3, 40-plus yard touchdowns or whatever they were, right? So I'll give them not credit, but I'll give them credit for their pass rush, that their defense did hold them in at the end of the game. And then look at that.
They're playing a backup quarterback with a third-string running back.
I know, but then
at home.
I'm saying what I was reading besides you, because you did say Hundley sucked, and then you were like, but most people were like Hundley was great in that game.
Hundley sucked at certain points because you know what happened, AC, is I thought McCarthy, I said this earlier in the recap, McCarthy did a great job of game planning. He totally 100% outcoached Tomlin, circles around Tomlin in this game.
I wouldn't say circles because he didn't win the game. Like, you can't say you outcoach the guy's circles and then lose the game, right?
What is he doing?
No, but when was the last time you said a coach outcoached a guy and then lost?
No, I'm just curious what he's doing.
You only outcoach another guy and then you win.
AC, I know you were at a dinner. This is a serious question. Did you watch the game?
I watched parts of the game. But I'm just saying, regardless, how can you say someone's outcoached when they lose?
400% more talented than the Green Bay Packers are.
But they
were at home. They were favorites by 14 points. 14.
I could say that the way that final drive went, I don't think the Green Bay should have milked the clock as much as they did. Obviously, they got the ball back, but
that was a mistake by Williams for running out of bounds.
No, but even at the end, right? Like, I think they should have gone for 2. Pittsburgh's got it and can score. I don't know.
At the beginning of the game, this is what happened with Hundley. Beginning of the game, they had great game plan plays. They had these little swing passes. They had these screens. They had very easy completions. The Steelers weren't tackling very well. The Packers were doing a good job of schematically getting their guys open and allowing Brett Hundley to make easy throws. He made a couple of throws down the field where his guys were wide open. Later in the game, what happened was they sort of like ran out of those trickery plays, and they had to rely more on Hundley to make some like actual plays, and he just couldn't do it. Then on that last drive, they had another great drive. So I'm not saying Hundley played bad because he played well. He played his best game he's ever played. But I feel like a lot of that also has to go with Mike McCarthy for coaching well. And I'm not a fan of Mike McCarthy. Dylan knows this. I'm not a fan of him. I think he relies too much on Aaron Rodgers. I was talking about how for some reason he coaches better when Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. And his like
true. You can say that. Don't play. I'm just always like, I don't think it was an unlucky loss, because if you really look at this game, Pittsburgh should have won by more than 14 points.
They could have easily lost.
If you really look at this, I don't think they could have. What could have Green Bay's defense did besides causing those turnovers to win that game?
Green Bay's defense could have stopped Antonio Brown. They could have at least.
How do you do that? Who does that? That's not easy for when you're just like, oh yeah,
bro.
Demarius Randall, Kevin King.
Who has beat the Steelers this year? They both stopped Antonio Brown.
I know, but I'm saying Green Bay didn't in this game at all. So I'm just trying to think that like the way it seemed to play out.
Okay, this is my thing. The last series
should have won by way more.
The last series, this guy has 10 catches, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. At the end of the game, they leave him single covered for a free first down. What the fuck is that?
I know, but then we're just looking. We're just looking at we're looking at the play calling. We're looking at the corner. Yeah, what the fuck is that? He's the best player in the game. That's your problem. That's That's not the offense's problem. Like, they're better, so that's why they made the play.
No, I know.
But we're saying that it should have been called differently. You should make a better adjustment.
You should make a better freaking adjustment on defense.
No, I agree, but they didn't because they're a bad defense. So they had no potential. If they don't do that, didn't have. You can't in some hypothetical world saying they should have shut down Antonio Brown because
you could have done it better coaching wise.
And I'm saying, you don't think that Green Bay was trying to figure out ways? They tried and they failed. Right? Like, they tried and they failed. It's the NFL. These guys didn't come in the game being like, let's do this with AB and just let them do this. They didn't do that whatsoever.
Well, we're saying, we said this earlier in the game, it's like, why the preparation, I think, was pretty bad. If you're looking at AB, you know he's a top 2 receiver in the game. I think you're going to live with the stat line of Le'Veon Bell having 12 catches for 88 yards, and then somebody like Eli Rogers going for, 80 or 90 yards. I think what they should have done is put them in double coverage, 2-on-1, have it to where the best corner that they've got, which I know is not very good.
They did on certain plays where Brown did win the coverage. They did do that. But at least force them every play for him to make a play.
The only
not one-on-one.
You guys should be coaching the defense of the Packers then, because they're in the NFL for some reason. And if you think they didn't try to game plan against AB, that is so wrong. Obviously they did. And it didn't work.
Why on the biggest play of the game did they have one-on-one with off coverage for a free 10 yards to win the game?
The drag route you're talking about? The drag route or that unbelievable catch?
The out.
Then the sidelines. That was the most unbelievable catch.
No, not that catch. The play after that. Directly after he just made the catch, they went to him 3 plays in a row. They left him one-on-one after he made the most ridiculous catch in the game. And he's wide open. Of course, he was wide open because he's playing some shitty-ass cornerback.
They were scared. No, I know, but they were scared that he was going to go deep. So if you play tight,
play 3 guys on him. Let him throw to Eli Rogers.
Well, then they would have got the yard somewhere else, though. I understand what you're saying.
That's my point. Force them to do that.
No, I know, but they did. You're not going to put 3 guys on one guy when you're trying to blitz and force a bad throw. You're not going to put.
Don't blitz.
When was the last time you saw a guy got triple team? No, I know, but
whenever Roethlisberger struggles, it's because teams take away Brown and Bell. It's a fact.
I understand that,
uncomfortable
man. But I'm just saying, Green Bay is not a team that was going to be able to shut them down.
No, but what we're saying is that you see.
What we're saying is let everyone else on your team beat you.
You saw the score that was there, and I'm not saying that the Green Bay Packers had the talent to do so, but they put up a surprisingly better game than we expected, right? We can agree with that.
Yeah, offensively.
So if you were in that opportunity, you have that space, even going into halftime, let's say, you're making halftime adjustments, which is something I don't understand, or this team doesn't understand. But if you go with the halftime adjustments, you understand.
And I don't know why we're giving a team credit for beating a backup quarterback at home when you're favored by 14
I'm going to say this for all the people commenting. We're getting to the point this season where Mitch is going to start hating on teams that are going to try to go for the.
Are you honestly saying this right now? If the Patriots would have beat them by 3 points, I would have been pissed off too.
No, but I'm just saying you're going. You've liked the Steelers. No, but you've liked the Steelers, and now you're wanting to hate on the Steelers now because you're trying.
I'm looking at this game. This game was 31-28. They could have lost this game.
They've lost 2 games, dude. You think it's that easy just to put some magical thing to stop those 2 guys? I think you're thinking like it's that easy to stop those 2 guys. They've only
made a hell of a catch at the end of the game there. That was an incredible catch.
I'm saying, why are you giving credit to the Steelers for winning 31-28 when they were favored by 14 points in a game that they should crush their opponent when Mike Tomlin before the game is talking about Super Bowls?
Well, I'm saying they won the game and they did it in a close. It was a close game, and they ended up pulling it out. It's a win's a win week by week. They're moving on. They've lost 2 games all season, and they're moving on. It's not that big of a deal. And I think it's this notion of why didn't they stop Antonio Brown and Bell? Because they're that good, and only 2 teams have stopped them.
Didn't stop them. It's that they didn't try to stop them.
Well, I'm saying because
can you name a team that has stopped Antonio Brown this year?
2 teams.
The Bears and the Jags.
2. How many games have they played?
I don't know. 11.
10, 11.
I think that there's been more, but I don't know.
I'll take those odds every day of the week.
But I just don't get why teams in the clutchest moment of the game have 1 corner on the best receiver in the league. I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Yeah, that's on them. But I don't think
when it's a rookie, I don't get it.
I don't think that made or break the game. We're talking about one little.
It was that
10-yard hitch. The whole game. We're talking about a 10-yard hitch. We're talking about a 10-yard hitch. The whole game. That's what it came down to. Was a 10-yard hitch to get in the field.
If they wouldn't have got 10 yards, they wouldn't have been able to kick the field goal.
They scored 4 touchdowns, dude. They scored 4 touchdowns. How about stopping the other touchdowns?
I know. They didn't do a good job on defense. I said that. But the Packers defense isn't good. My concern is AC.
No, I know.
My concern is AC.
Yeah.
This is the second game. In case you didn't know, this is the second game the Steelers have scored over 30 points this year. Last week they did it against Tennessee, a terrible secondary.
Well,
this week they did it against
November, December.
at home. Okay?
Yes.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
No, they're not. Okay. And second, all right. What about when these guys in the playoffs, you have to actually pass to somebody else?
Yeah, it could hurt them. But I'm saying right now, looking at this game, like it's
obviously you can do it against the Packers.
I'm just saying they're 8-2 against whoever they.
But
play.
I don't
They're
get why you're not saying anything bad about the Steelers in this game. I don't understand that at all.
Because I like the offense, and I thought the defense gave up too many big plays, but they had a good pass rush. That's the simplified way of seeing this game. I thought their offense was great. Lost them the game. I think they had some unlucky turnovers, and I think they gave up big plays, and that was pretty much it. 3 big play touchdowns, and you can get over that because they've shown, besides this game,
they've given up big plays against the Colts. They've given up big plays against the Titans.
And they're still winning games, 8-2. So if you can clean that up, yes, that could be a problem.
Okay.
But I like their pass rush. That's for sure. Second in the league in sacks, which is no small feat.
Okay. Kev.
I do want to point out, I do think the
first,
Steelers
Kev,
are better
sorry
than you.
for your loss.
That's okay. It was brutal.
That sucks.
It's if there is a way to lose that sucks, that is not Marshawn Lynch that would be it. That would be it. For those who don't know, the Stampeders lost on they had the ball at the 10-yard line. The guy fumbled.
I saw this play.
It was a 95-yard touchdown return. Then they had the field goal. We were down the field. 22 plays left. Could have tied it with a field goal. Makes a terrible throw in the end zone. Game over.
5 stars right there. Training Solutions gave us $2, so that's
thank you, Training Solutions.
50 cents to everybody in the chat. Go get you a can of Coke.
AC's reaction to saying Wilson is better than Wentz because Super Bowl as a rookie. He didn't win it as a rookie, by the way. It was second season.
Yeah, he was out. I
just want to point out Steelers in the 2015-2016 season are 13-4 in November, December.
Because they've been a good team.
But I'm just saying, you said that was wrong when I said it.
But they've also played really shitty against teams they shouldn't play really shitty.
But I'm just saying, you said I was wrong, and they're 13-4. That's not wrong, right? That's correct. That's a stat.
That's pretty good.
I
don't think that's in the top 3, but that's pretty good.
I bet you that's in the top 3.
I would also.
I think that I know the Patriots and the Panthers.
Obviously, yeah, Patriots are great.
Panthers are ahead of them too.
Panthers last year probably weren't great, so that changes things, right?
Panthers were ahead of them. I know. I saw the stat.
Where's the stat? I'm saying, okay, third place is
I saw it on a broadcast.
If we're thinking that third place isn't good in the last 2 years in November, December.
No, but I mean, what have they done in the playoffs? What have they done in the playoffs?
I guess as a Patriots fan, you're always going to do what they're going to do in the playoffs. It's all good because
that's the expectation for the Steelers.
I don't think it's that. I think it's expectation for you and every single other team because you think it's just so easy to win a Super Bowl because your team is always talented. We've had this. I'm not the only one saying this. Like you
have Ben, Brown, Bell. You've won the Super Bowl before. Every single Steelers fan expects to win the Super Bowl. Ask the Steelers fans.
No, I understand that, but I think they've had some good seasons in between, and then what? They lost to the Patriots twice.
It's not like they've been out of the playoffs 15 consecutive years.
Yeah, like they're still like
the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
No, I
want a failure.
But the thing is, you guys don't get it. It's not that the Steelers aren't good against. It's not that the Steelers can't win games. They can, but it's when they play elite teams. They're the same team. They are the same team. They haven't improved.
I think their defense has improved.
Okay. I'd agree with that statement.
It's, I mean, look, Brown's probably at least in your top 3, at lowest 3 in your receiver core in the NFL.
Obviously, yeah.
And Bell has
He
got
has
to be
been for
in
the
your
last
top
5 years.
3.
He has been for the last 5 years.
I don't know. I mean, do I think they can beat the Patriots? Probably not. Do I think it'd be a closer game? Maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what have they really done better? Why are they always playing these games so close against bad teams?
Because people get up to play the Steelers.
Exactly.
People
get up to play the Patriots.
But the Patriots
People
are
get
better
up to play the Eagles now.
Yeah, the
What's the
Patriots are
difference?
better than the Steelers.
Yeah, we've already
At this point, Patriots are better than the Steelers. I just think when we're talking like the tier 2 of teams that are just still very good and can win games, and if everything goes their way, can beat the Patriots. Emphasis on everything has to go their way, which is hard to do. But the Steelers can beat the Patriots if everything goes their way. But obviously, the key thing is everything has to go their way, which that's the hardest part. But their team's capable to beat the Patriots for sure.
This was fun.
Capable. I said capable. It's not like we're saying the Steelers are going to beat the Patriots.
I just don't get it.
Who do you think is capable of beating the Patriots in the AFC?
Nobody.
Okay, so there's your answer. So you're stuck on that answer, so anything else is going to be wrong to you.
I think the NFC, correct? I think the Eagles are capable. I think the Vikings are capable.
Steelers have the talent to do so. I don't know why you throw them to the wayside.
Yeah.
I think what I saw tonight took them out of the conversation. I think they look like the same team they were last year.
This isn't like the Chiefs where they're free falling all of a sudden.
Yeah, they didn't lose.
Yeah, they're winning games.
Yeah, 31 points is more than 28 points.
Still,
if they beat the Patriots in 3 weeks, I'll change my opinion. Obviously, then they're a better team.
Well, and look, before you guys were on, I said some of the things, and I agreed with some of the sentiments that Mitch had about the Steelers, but I wouldn't take them out of that race.
Obviously, they're the number 2 team, but like, how big is the gap?
Not that big. It's not as big as I would think you think it is.
It's probably not as big as you think it is.
All right.
Like, look at the Packers are better than the Dolphins.
Are they?
Yes.
For sure. The Dolphins are trash, dude.
Come on.
The Dolphins are the worst.
The Dolphins have senior citizens on defense.
Yeah, but the Packers have won like what? 1 game without Aaron Rodgers?
Still more confident than the Dolphins.
They beat 1 team.
They're better than the Raiders.
No, they're not.
Oh, come on.
The Raiders are still in position to make the playoffs.
So are the Packers.
Yeah, but we're not saying that they're going to make it without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, a lot of things have to happen for them to make the playoffs.
The Packers are better than the Dolphins, though. Come on.
Come on.
Maybe. I don't know. They would have to play. Be honest.
Come on.
I don't know.
You saw the Dolphins play the Panthers, right? You've watched the Dolphins play football a number of times this year.
But the Packers aren't very good either.
No, but the Dolphins are the worst 4-win team I've seen this decade. Like, they're awful.
And are we just discrediting the fact that the Steelers only beat the Colts by 3-2?
I brought that up earlier.
But I think, at the end of the day, football, any given Sunday, everyone's on the field for a reason, and they still pulled out a win regardless. And they came back in that, which is, you got to just, like, regardless of who you're playing, if you get down, I think that shows a little bit about your team, that regardless of who you're playing, you come back and you win the game. You walk out there with a W, you regroup, and then kick off at 0-0 the next week.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Any other comments about the game? Kev, you didn't really give much, so.
I only saw the last 2 minutes, to be honest with you.
Okay, so
there's really nothing I could contribute. But I mean, sometimes the game is close.
Sometimes the game is close.
And what I will say
Chris
is,
Collinsworth like tonight. He said a lie that was just so bad. He was like, I think they're gonna pass or run with Le'Veon on this play.
Which would mean the only option they had to do was either a QB sneak or a fullback option. That's all that they could have possibly done for him to be incorrect on that statement.
And then the next play, right after that, he said, I don't think Aaron Rodgers could have played any better than Brett Hundley today. I don't think that's possible.
If you look at the stat line, it looks decent, but it's Aaron Rodgers. Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
What I would say too about this game is I do think Ben's playing his best football of the season, which I think you can
That's true.
You could say
I
that.
would agree with that.
Yeah, the last 2 games, especially because I have him in my fantasy, and it's been the time where I needed him the most. In the last 2 weeks, he's single-handedly winning some of my weeks.
About fantasy and cheese.
Yeah,
Dilly's done.
30 points back to back.
I probably am, but I'm cheesed that I lost by a fucking half a point last week. Like, come on, man.
Hey, I played Julio.
That wasn't in our league, was it?
No, it's in a different one. I played Julio in the Panthers fucking defense. Panthers fucking defense.
I need 7 points from Lamar Miller tomorrow to win mine. And if I do lose, it's because of that Dawson 57-yard field goal or whatever it was, because it was 5 points. And I was like,
that was clutch. That was hella clutch.
Okay, Dilly, get to some comments.
There's been 5 million comments, but we're gonna
Skip
try.
Bayless is in there as well. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not gonna listen to him. I'm not listening to him.
Hey, AC's a new big fan of Skip Bayless.
I enjoy. I think he's entertaining. I hate everything he says, but it's fun to watch because I think Shannon Sharp deals with him pretty jokes too. I think Shannon Sharp's a pretty
you
good
agreed with
character.
his tweet today though.
No, I did because I'm not an idiot. I'm not like, and I don't think MB.
No, Wentz is gonna win.
I don't put much stake in an MVP. Who cares? Yeah, you had a great season, but
I do.
People are going to think you had a great season regardless. Like Wentz is in his second year, he's going to have an opportunity.
But it's one of
Brady's
those things
been the
like
better.
when you look back at a career, you can say, "Hey, you won the MVP."
For sure, and for Brady at this point in his career, yeah, it's huge. But I think Wentz is only a second-year player. So if I think Brady is a better season, has been having a better season, so Brady deserves it, and Wentz will have his shot 10 years down the road again.
The MVP has not won the Super Bowl since 1999.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because I wouldn't have considered Matt Ryan the MVP last year. So
you wouldn't consider Matt Ryan the MVP last year?
No, I thought Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady were both better than Matt Ryan last year.
Well, yeah, no, we'll see what happens. Dan Marino.
In terms of the most valuable player to their team, I felt like those two players.
I would agree with that, but it depends on how they. But they judge it based off the stats.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
I know, but Rodgers had more touchdown passes.
So the Madden curse for Tom Brady is like just not winning MVP.
Maybe
that's a pretty good curse right there, maybe.
Or having a career season and then like losing one playoff game, and that's the curse.
Probably lose to the Steelers. Shit.
Oh, there it is. There's a comment. Here's a couple comments. Lions, North Carolina are legit teams. Carolina wins ugly. How do you feel about that, Mitch? Because
I think Carolina is more legit than the Lions.
Lions aren't legit.
But Lions would be in every game because they have Matt Stafford. But
if you watch this Jets game and how they played against the Jets, but if like you know what I mean, like
they played really poorly today, but. I mean,
I think you say like, why are you so hard on Pittsburgh for playing poorly, and then why aren't you so?
Because the Steelers are supposed to be a team that's a Super Bowl contender, like #1 contender. They're supposed to beat the Patriots. A number of people talk about them beating the Patriots all the time. And
so I just feel bitter. So you're a little bitter because of what people are talking about.
I'm not bitter at all. I just feel like they get too much respect.
Let's work through it.
They get too much respect.
Because from who?
From fans and media members.
And how does that make you feel?
That makes me feel like it's ridiculous because they don't really every single year it's the same.
Okay, I feel you, man.
And for the Panthers,
isn't Cam supposed to be like
I think they played poorly today. Huh?
But do you think that affects them down the road then?
Yeah, I think that takes them a notch down from where I thought I had them. But I still think they're a better team than the Lions. They did beat the Lions.
Yeah, I do think they're better than the Lions as well.
Yeah. Well,
I think that their defense didn't play a good game, which even though they had a touchdown, but they didn't play a good game. And I expected better. But then again, I've been saying, I know you guys hate on the Jets. The Jets have been competitive with every team they played, and they could definitely beat the Chiefs next week. AC has.
I hate on the Jets and be like they don't win games. That's not really hating on them. It's just a fact.
But they're competitive in every game.
I know, but they find a way to lose games, and I don't like that still means you stink.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't get blown out very often.
No, and I appreciate that, but they don't win games
because they're terrible.
100%. So they're not good, right?
Yeah, but look at their talent.
So based on that, I'm going to back up BC here.
Yeah.
They only won by 8. This is a team that you have as a contender here.
They're not okay. They're not terrible in terms of a team, but they're terrible in terms of individual talent. They actually play well as a team, which is weird.
But you should be on Carolina for only winning by 8.
I am. I'll be gonna take them down in my power rankings. But this isn't a Panthers versus Jets recap. This is a Steelers versus Packers recap.
Well, now we're talking about every NFL team because now we're in common.
I think the Steelers move down. I think the Panthers move down. I think the Falcons move up.
The Rams move up.
The Rams move up. The Saints move down. I thought the Saints played like shit. I don't know. What else do you want me to say? The Seahawks are the same, I guess. Cowboys definitely moved down like 10.
That was just unnecessary.
The Chiefs moved down 10.
Well, the Chiefs are.
The Bills move up. So that's how I feel.
So okay, let me ask a question, and I'm serious.
Yeah.
The playoffs. What is the percentage Andy Reid is out?
20.
0.
No, because he'll get one season with Mahomes, and then they'll decide.
0%.
Yeah.
They have to keep it whatever quarterback. They'll blame the quarterback first before they blame Andy Reid because he's had the experience.
Because the quarterback was already the issue according to Kansas City for the last few years. So.
Well, I mean, but that's why they drafted
Andy
the
Reid has
quarterback
been a good coach for the most part.
Yeah, let's be honest. If Alex
Except
Smith
in
didn't play the way he did, if he didn't play the way he did at the beginning,
he would have been benched immediately.
Yeah, and that was I probably at the beginning of the
if he was playing like this,
it would have been week 3 exactly. Like Mahomes would have been in early.
But I also think that they don't
record.
want to ever put Mahomes in this year because they feel like he's not ready. They need a whole offseason with him.
I feel like they'll have that regret of like, oh well, we got to.
I don't think they can win though, even if Mahomes was like a Watson.
No, because you're throwing them out.
I don't even know because their defense is not good and their offense isn't. I don't know. It would be interesting. You're
throwing them basically out to the wolves. Like I understand Watson was in that same situation, but look at all the talent that they had before all the injuries piled up.
And it wasn't like Mahomes was treated as a backup the whole time. Watson has been
was going to be the starter.
He was treated as a starter at with Savage. So
yeah, it's a different situation, but we'll see. I ranked Mahomes as my number 1 quarterback coming in for rookies coming into this year. So
I think he definitely. I didn't think Watson had that good of deep accuracy. I think he's really improved on that. But Mahomes definitely seemed like he was probably the best passer out of all of them.
Yeah, but what I will say too is watching the game, like Trubisky's 3 years away.
I just
I don't think it's gonna. It's not going to be next year.
From him. I think it was more the Eagles and the Bears' terrible team. I think if they give him a good coach and a couple players.
But I'm saying all that takes time. You know what I mean? It's not a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like they're in the same boat as the 49ers, but maybe a little less.
Hey, Jimmy Garoppolo just went out there 3 for 3 touchdown against the Seahawks.
Yeah,
he's the legend.
Put him on the Pro Bowl now.
Yes, would have beat the Seahawks.
All great there.
I said that they weren't going to.
Hey, let's get some pregame hype. The people want to know. Eagles.
Oh yes, these two. Oh, hold on. First off, I did say the 49ers were going to the playoffs, not next season, but the season after. So that'll take the time process. Kev, you got to promote this Eagles Seahawks battle.
Well, I have a map because AC had a map drawings last year. Monday.
Well, we gotta have.
Predator says Russell Wilson is carried by his defense. Is not a great pocket passer.
So. I've got this here.
I want to see if these are greatest ACs. I already asked AC for the shipping address.
Okay, so this is where the Super Bowl is. It's in Minnesota.
Yes.
And the way that we're going to have to go to Minnesota through the West Coast here, we're going to have to go through Philadelphia. All of us are. So you got to win there in order to get there. So we got to win here on Sunday. Must win. Not an easy win.
But it's in Seattle.
I know, but still, no, you got to. Even we win the NFC West, you get a wild card.
True.
Philadelphia.
No, and
that's the way it
is. The one thing I will say about this game, it's lost its allure a bit because it's the same as the Cowboys game. The Cowboys game at that time was big, but it was more important for the Cowboys than it was for Eagles. Eagles are going into a new situation where at the beginning of the season, I thought probably Seattle was going to be better than Eagles record-wise. I thought it was going to be a big game for Eagles. Now it's moving that it's a huge game for Seattle because they can't lose. I think it's going to be closer than people think. Obviously, I bet you the spread's going to indicate that. And I think it's going to be a similar game to Carolina, the way the Carolina game went, where it's actually going to be a game in the third and fourth quarter and not like what
I think the only reason it could be a game is if Russell Wilson has a great game.
For
Like,
sure.
he might have a great game. I mean, we saw that against Atlanta. So
the one thing I will say is, though, I think with Schwartz's blitz packages and how he can contain quarterbacks, we saw it against Zeke. We saw it against Dak, and like big time against Zach, how we didn't let him run. So we'll see. But I think we're going to be able to hold them down, and I'm not a big fan of that defense right now, how banged up it is. But we'll see. It's always nice. If the Eagles win, they clinch the NFC East.
Yeah, and if you lose and the Vikings beat the Falcons, it's a 2 teams with a 10-2 record. So big win for you guys.
That would be a tie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't think the Eagles, the way I know this team, the Eagles are thinking about the NFC East. They're not thinking about the they just want to win games.
Vikings also play someone tough this week, too.
They play the Falcons in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Tough one.
Oh, can somebody join me for the recap next week? It's a live stream. Anybody?
I won't be able to.
Easy. Kev, come on, bro. Come on, bro. United, the Seahawks are playing Sunday Night Football. Like, excuses are out the window. Okay. Well, we'll see, everybody, about the live stream. I mean, now it's interesting. The rankings are interesting this week, now that some teams have lost.
Okay, what are our top 10 rankings? Let's go down the list.
Who's first?
AC, I don't know.
What? Top 10?
Top 10.
I'll go Patriots. I'll go Eagles. I'll go Steelers. I'll go Rams. I'll go New Orleans. Go China. I'm trying to think here. It's pretty tough after that. I'm trying to think AFC because the AFC is like
Jags, Titans, Chiefs,
okay,
Chargers.
I'll go
Bills.
Baltimore. You know what? For me right now, I think you got to put the Titans ahead of the Jags because they're finding ways to win games, and I think the Jags have fought like their offense. It hasn't been great, so I'll go Titans, Jags.
Expected.
And then I'll put the Falcons there, and you know what? I do like the Ravens. Ravens at 10.
Okay.
Ravens ahead of the Chargers?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, for my top 10, I've got the Eagles 1, Patriots 2, Minnesota 3. Let's see here. Pittsburgh 4, Rams 5, Saints 6. Let's see. Who would I go after that in terms of rankings? I'd go with Carolina 7. 8 would be... If Jacksonville had won, I would have switched this, but I would agree with AC on the pick there. I would have to go Tennessee 8th, Jacksonville 9th, and then I'm going to give Atlanta the 10th spot.
Cavioli.
Eagles 1, Patriots 2, Vikings 3, Rams 5th. Yeah, you can argue that either way. I'm going to put the Saints at 6th. I will put the Titans at 7. It's kind of an ugly 7.
That's a terrible 7.
Falcons at 8.
We do realize that the Titans only won by like 3 today, right?
They still got the record though.
Yeah, they're still getting W's. And I feel like Jags have lost a lot of games that they should win.
They've only lost like 1 in the last like 4 though.
No, I know, but the Titans are like the Titans would win shitty against the Cardinals. You know what I mean? They're winning shitty against teams like the Cardinals.
I guess.
Which is still a W.
10 is going to be a little bit. I'm going off the board, which is I'm going to put the Chargers at 10. 6.
Fair.
But they've won
the way that they're playing.
They're playing right now. They've won 2 in a row.
You got the Chargers ahead of the Falcons?
I think if it was a Super Bowl between the Chargers and the Falcons, I would pick the Chargers to win.
Well, first of all, neither of these teams are going to the Super Bowl.
Chargers to the ball!
No, I would completely disagree with you on that. But okay.
toilet
I'm just
bowl.
kidding. Don't worry. You've already lost.
No, I'm not
$100 to
talking
the
about you. I'm
Chargers. I
talking
don't want you
about-
to lose any more money to the Chargers. It's okay.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Kev. I don't think that's.
He was
whatever.
just saying
No.
if they played.
I had the
I'm-
Falcons at 8. I had the Falcons at 8, Panthers at 9, and I put the Chargers at 10, didn't I?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you did, okay.
Dilly has. I don't know. Dilly's messed up. I have the Eagles number 1, Patriots number 2, Vikings number 3, Rams number 4. After that, I'd go the Steelers number 5. Ooh, I gotta go with the Saints 6, Carolina 7, Atlanta 8, 9. I would go. Ooh. 9, I would go the Chargers. 10, I would go Jacksonville, I guess.
I guess.
I think I only had 4 teams from the AFC.
So
Okay.
so this is more of like how they're playing right now, not in overall like looking forward at all.
Looking forward a little bit, but
Yeah. It's hard to put a 5 and 6 team in the top 10.
Thank you.
That's all.
yeah, well, they're playing better than.
No, I know, but I just like it's tough to do that because
I think that if they played the Titans, they would win.
but you have to like when you do power ranks, you still have to look like the beginning of the season mattered too.
No, but I'm looking at it in terms of who's playing the best at the current moment of time.
Yeah. But then like what happens if a team that's 1-10 wins 3 games in a row and are playing better than anyone? Would you put them in your top
Then
10?
they would be bumped up. It's a
Would
balance.
they be in your top 10?
They would be. They're ranked 12th, but I couldn't I couldn't put them in the top.
Well, I'm looking at it, and they're not that far off. Like the rest of the teams that I could rank would be the Titans, the Seahawks, the Bills, the Lions, the Chiefs, the Ravens.
You could.
I think they're in the same area as those teams. They're in
I
the
think the way
same
the Ravens
category.
defense has been playing, that Ravens deserve some credit too.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah,
got.
I think the
Ravens at
Chargers are
11.
a more complete team, personally.
Yeah.
And I just I was thinking about putting the Seahawks in there, but I just don't trust that, like with all those injuries, that they can really do it. So, looking ahead, I think that the Chargers more likely are going to continue this run, and the Seahawks are probably going to fall off a little bit. So, and I don't think the Chiefs are better than them at this time, at this moment in time. I think the Bills aren't because they just got destroyed by them, and the Lions. I mean, you could debate that, I guess.
Looking at the Chargers, their losses were by 3. Their only really bad loss was to Kansas City. They lost 24-10. But anything else that they've lost, they lost by they lost 2 points to the Eagles. They lost 3-3 to the Broncos, 2 to the Dolphins.
And they should have won 3 of those games if their kicker could kick the ball.
It's called Chargers syndrome. They don't know how to finish games.
Yeah, but it is a kicker. It's not even they made a terrible, awful play or something.
No, that's how
it was
the Chargers have done that. Changed that within the last 3 seasons. There's always somebody different, and this time it's the kicker situation. So,
I know you hate the Chargers, Dylan. It's okay.
I have them 12th. They're a good team, but I don't want them in the playoffs. First of all, because they're bad. But I think the Ravens are the better team right now. That's just how I feel.
Okay.
I feel like their defense is better.
We'll see what the Ravens do tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's what I want to say too.
I think the Chargers' offense is a lot better than the Ravens.
Tomorrow's is a big statement game for the Ravens because I know
they should win by multiple scores, but knowing the Ravens, they can't score, so it might be.
So they don't win by 14. You hear it first, guys. Ravens.
They got it. They got to win by 10 at least if they're a legit
I
team.
think so.
But
Lamar Miller needs to get 7 points in PPR.
Yeah, so Lamar Miller's got to get 7 catches.
I'm liking because
7 yards.
Foreman's out, so he's going to get a lot more carries.
There you go.
Cool.
All right, is that it?
Bodo says, "Did y'all notice Mitch's face when he said Pittsburgh 5? He already wanted to put them out of the top 10."
No, I didn't. I wasn't going to put them on the top 10. I was debating them or the Saints for 5.
Wait,
Bodo,
Training Solution says with his super chat, AC reaction to saying Wilson over.
Yeah, I know.
Wentz.
We said that. You didn't respond.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, Wilson won it in his second year, right? Third.
Second year.
Second year. No, like I will give Wilson credit. Do I think he's going to be able to sustain this? Because I don't think it's a quick turnaround with their team. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be able to contend in the NFC West and win some games. But I do think he might get caught in a situation where his team around him isn't good enough to win games, and he can't do it by himself. And Wentz is only a second-year player, so we'll see. Because it's so early to compare them to, because Wentz has only really played a season and a half. And we've seen Wilson's resume, and that 150 touchdowns or whatever in the third shortest amount of time is pretty impressive. Like, I appreciate what he does, but with that defense, I think I guess with some play calling, I think, I
don't understand why people call me a hater. Like,
people are
I'm just
slamming
I'm sure if Kev and AC would have watched the whole game tonight, they would have seen some flaws with the Steelers as well.
No, I said, but
everybody wants to,
the offense was so dominant. The offense was so dominant, besides unlucky turnovers, and the defense got killed on big plays.
Okay.
I think that's
I'm
why.
not going to respond anymore to that because, like I said, they were minus 14 points.
But if Green Bay just stopped Antonio Brown, they would have won. They just had to stop them.
Minus 14 points. They weren't expected to win.
Put 5 guys on them.
They weren't expected to even come close.
Yeah,
you actually picked the
Sunday,
Steelers to cover 14 points.
No, I did, and then it doesn't work out, but the Steelers still win. So it's like, I don't like. It's whatever. We can pick, and that's what we do. We talk, but I'm saying at the end of the day, I still respect winning rather than if they cover. Like, it's not a big deal if they don't cover. No, great teams cover for sure. But yeah, so Steelers are a good team.
All right.
That
is all.
I don't think you can say any team's great until the end of the season. Whoever's holding the Super Bowl, that's the great team that year. Yeah.
Sure, but I think there can be multiple teams that are great in a year.
No,
I don't think.
I
really, you can't say that.
Like, how can you be called a great team if you can't get it done? I know it's a one-game playoff.
You can be a great team.
You can be a great team and lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You can't be the best, but you can be great.
You'll be second place. You'll be the second greatest team that season, which I don't think that matters much.
Okay, well, I mean, look at the teams that have lost in the Super Bowl before. There's certainly great teams that have lost. I'm not saying that they're the best. Yeah, they're obviously second.
You wouldn't say 04 Eagles were great?
No, not at all. They weren't the best. They lost to the Patriots. Patriots were great. They were good.
That's a Ricky Bobby mentality right there. Like, I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, like, yeah, there's good teams.
So then why are we not ripping the Steelers? All right, we'll end it on that. It's Mitch. It's AC, Dilly Vanilli, and Kev. Have a good night. Stamps suck. Peace.